What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorian Show. I'm using a different mic today. I'm using a lav mic because I'm tired and I didn't want to set up a handheld mic. I just came back from an open mic where I did 5 minutes that I've been feeling pretty good about. If you guys don't know, sometimes I do comedy. Most of the time, no laughs, but the last couple weeks it's been pretty good. So I'm back in the game, baby. I am back in the game. If you are in LA, come watch me at open mics because I'm on zero shows. Anyway, a lot of stuff has happened in the market, so let's just jump into it. Um, Dude, the nuclear business is on fire in like a good way. It's blowing up, also in a good way. Maybe I should use different words. Anyway, a lot of news just coming out within the last week. Both Google and Amazon has said they have signed deals to buy nuclear power directly from nuclear companies. Google said they're going to be buying nuclear energy from Kairos. Plants will be up and running in 2030, and Amazon is investing $500 million for some SMRs, and they're going to bring them online in Washington and Virginia. There's really no time frame for that. And what happened was all the uranium stocks jumped up, dude. Not just uranium stocks, nuclear stocks as well. Um, Most famously, Oklo and NewScale both went up like over 40% in one day. So these are stocks that I have not invested in. They're both in SMR technology, but there's currently no SMRs up and running right now. I think there's one being built in China, which is going to start running in 2026, I think. But besides that, there's no SMRs right now that's currently running. I think the technology works. Just because there's none that in existence right now doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I think the technology has been proven to work. Like we already got technically like small nuclear power plants, right? Every submarine that we have, every aircraft carrier that the US has is run by nuclear power. These things will run for like 50 years without needing to refuel. So we know we could get nuclear power coming out from a small a small physical nuclear reactors. It's just a matter of getting them built, getting funding, and getting past all the regulation, which is the toughest part. Um, but yeah, it's going to be tough. I think it's hard. I mean, I think it is. I think you could still invest in one of these small SMR companies like Oklo and NewScale, but their market cap's so huge. Right? I think they're like $2 billion market cap, and I think a company like Cameco is only like $20 billion in market cap, but they already have they have revenues. They have a product. They mine uranium. They enrich uranium, and they own about like I think it's like 49% of Westinghouse, who basically already builds plants all over the world, like the giant plants, the AP 1000. They also got an SMR AP 300, which is just a scaled down version of what they have already. No one has bought it from them yet because they still have to get through regulation, but they've got a proven plant that works. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I will invest in Oklo or NewScale just because I'm in so many uranium stocks, but maybe I'll say like maybe like $1,000, but that's not enough for me to even feel anything in my soul. You know what I mean? Like it could go up 10 times and that'll only be like $10,000, but which is a lot of money, but it's not going to change my life. And I just don't know if I could get myself to invest another $10,000 on something that I could just go to zero. You know what I mean? So if you guys want, you guys should think about it. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I just know that I think uranium's not going anywhere at this point. It's just going to keep going up in terms of the price of the physical uranium and nuclear power in general. Um, there's just no way around it. I think AI learning, machine learning, these large language models are going to take so much energy. That's why all these tech companies are, investing so much into uranium, you know what I mean? Or nuclear power. Because if we just start plugging some of these data centers into the grid right now, everybody's energy, electricity bills are going to go straight up, you know what I mean? And people are not going to be happy about it, you know? Like I already pay like $80 a month for my electricity bill. Can you imagine if all these AI companies start plugging themselves into the grid? My bill could go up to like 200 or more, you know what I mean? Because they demand so much energy. So yeah, these tech companies are trying to get ahead of the curve, and they're just like buying directly from these nuclear power plants, so they don't have to affect the general population, who are obviously going to complain. And what the tech companies don't want is pushback. You know what I mean? Especially with Lena Khan, the destroyer of worlds, to step in and say no, you can't do that. In terms of SMRs, I don't know if they will. I feel like they're going to get built at some point. I just don't know when it's going to happen, because New Scale already had the go ahead to build a SMR, small modular reactor, in Idaho, but they had to shut it down because like the money, the economics just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? So I'm starting to think like, because these SMRs are smaller, it might be harder for them to get to break even. You know what I mean? I mean, technically, their argument is it's going to cost them less because it's a smaller facility, um, less people to work on it, don't need that much of a footprint in terms of physical footprint. It should be cheaper. They could build most of the stuff offsite and then just ship it in and build it on site. But I don't know. I think a lot of these stuff are still the same, right? I guess, would regulation be faster? I feel like regulation will just take just as long. All these licensing and stuff. Um, Building the plant is still expensive, and they're making less money selling energy in the back end. And we already know these like giant plants, like the AP1000, the energy generated upfront is more expensive than what we're paying right now, which is like 15 cents per kilowatt. I think a nuclear power plant, when they first get online, it's like double that, 30 cents per kilowatt. But like in the long term, that price drops, and they basically have reliable power for like the next 50 years, which is what a lot of these tech companies want. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to buy any of these SMRs, but I might. I already own like 5 different nuclear stocks. You know what I mean? They're all producers, obviously, except for Cameco, which owns half of Westinghouse, which makes nuclear power plants. So that's my biggest play, up big right now, all time highs. I'm recording this over the weekend, so it might crash on Monday morning when this comes out. So let's hope not, dude. Let's hope not. Obviously, I still own Sprott Uranium Trust, which trades the physical price of the uranium, which has been lagging. Surprisingly, it's hovering around $80. Um, I think it has a potential to go past the $100 per pound in the next couple months. It's already gone past that in the past, this year actually, for just a short period of time. But there's just more catalysts now. You know what I mean? Like, if Google, Facebook, and Amazon are already giving, and Microsoft are giving so much money to these SMR companies to build something that hasn't existed, like they probably know something that we don't. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they know government regulators are about to let some of these guys start building them. The time frame to build them are shorter, because sometimes it takes like 6 to like 20 years to build like a nuclear power plant, obviously with setbacks and stuff. But maybe these tech companies know something we don't. So there's another reason to buy some of these SMR companies. Maybe I will buy some tomorrow. Oklo and NewScale. Maybe I'll buy I don't know, $3,000 between the two, $1,500. Just light a pile of cash on fire, and if it goes well, it'll be a couple $1,000s into profit. So maybe I'll do that because we all know I'm not going to be able to buy a house anyways. I live in LA. It's freaking crazy out here. More uranium news. Kazatomprom is going to be voting on November 15th. Kazatomprom, the biggest uranium producer in the world in Kazakhstan. On November 15th, they will be voting to see if they will sign a large contract for with China worth half their market cap. So that's going to be a big deal. I don't know if that will go through or not. I mean, Kazatomprom is their own country, but some people believe that Russia controls them. So maybe Russia would be like, fine, sell to China because they are our allies, or not. I mean, it doesn't. Either way, I think it's going to be good for uranium prices. If it doesn't go through, we already know there's going to be demand for a lot of uranium. China's building uranium reactors like there's no tomorrow. Nuclear energy still makes such a small percentage of their total energy output. I think it only makes up like 5% of the energy they produce, but they are clearly trying to go to zero emissions. You know what I mean? Like they're already basically subsidizing EVs in China. They're creating EV cars way cheaper than Tesla. Their goal is just to get everybody off gasoline cars and buy an EV. And to power these EVs, they're going to need a lot of energy. I'm sure if they're making EVs, they probably don't want to use natural gas and coal anymore. So they're going to rely on all these green energy like windmills and what do you call those solar panels, which aren't reliable 24 hours. You know what I mean? So they're going to use uranium and nuclear power. They're already building like, I don't know, like 20 new nuclear power plants within like the next 20 years. I think it's more than 20, probably like 40. So they're gearing up for it. They're already signaling to the market like we are all in uranium and nuclear. It's just a matter of time that uranium price will spike up. We just don't know when. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't have like a long time frame to wait for it to go up. You know, people want it to go up next year, this year, in 2 years, which is kind of how I was like too. Like when I first got into this play in 2022, I think when I got on, whenever Sprott first traded in the market, I was like, dude, this is gonna go to $200 a pound in like the next year, and then that never happened. So the timeline is getting wider and wider, but it seems like every catalyst has just been positive, right? There's only been positive news for nuclear energy and uranium these last 2 years. Really nothing negative, but the price is still lagging. So hopefully it will go up soon. I also own Paladin. I think they just bought, I don't know who they bought. They bought another uranium producer, and I think it's going to pass. They're in the last stages of voting or the government's going to allow it or not. If it passes, they're going to be the third largest producer in the world. It's going to be Kazatomprom, Cameco, and then Paladin. And I'm happy to own at least Cameco and Paladin. That'll be crazy. And if the price of uranium goes up, I'm going to be swimming in money, dudes. I also own Deep Yellow, which they're just basically a marketing company right now. They got like the best management company. Their CEO used to run Paladin during the last uranium boom, and their whole team are like half of it's from the old Paladin days. So that's what we're doing. I'm buying Deep Yellow on a dream. So a lot of people think the CEO is like uranium Jesus. You know what I mean? Like they're just gonna like, oh, this guy's an expert. He's gonna know how to make money. So I drank the Kool-Aid. So I bought a little bit of their stock, Deep Yellow. And then the last uranium stock I own is Peninsula Energy, which is kind of like the opposite of this last CEO. People hate this CEO because he got screwed over by another company. He was gonna mine the physical uranium but have it processed by a third party, and then last minute the third party was like, nah, never mind, we're not going to do it for you. So the stock tank, they keep having to sell stock to shore up their balance sheet to keep paying for all this stuff. So they've just been watering down and devaluing shareholder value, so people don't like him. But Peninsula is supposed to produce pounds of uranium in the beginning of 2025, I think. So that's good. That's good news. Rumor has it like their contract's really bad. Like they're selling uranium at a contract price of like $50 when the spot right now is $80. Their CEO Wayne Haley did say that they have only about half of their pounds of uranium are contracted out, so they're going to be selling into the spot price, which is good or bad because the spot price is up. If $100 and they're selling it for $100 is good for us, but if you're selling into the spot market into the spot market, it's going to drag the price down of the spot price. So I don't know. Peninsula is the only position that I'm down right now, so I think that's pretty good. I think they're going to keep going up. But yeah, that is what I have on uranium. I hope this sounds good. I hope this mic sounds okay. Let me know. Like and subscribe always. What else I want to talk to about? Are we in a recession? I think we might be in a recession. You know what I mean? Like inflation is still has come down, and a lot of companies are actually cutting prices, which I didn't think was going to happen. But just last week, 2 weeks ago, Pepsi came out with their earnings, and on their call, they were saying their income went down because people are just tired of paying for higher prices. A lot of people are complaining about shrinkflation, and if you don't know what that is basically when you buy a bag of Doritos. Let's say you used to get like 10 ounces per bag, and then instead of raising prices, they keep the prices the same, but they lower how much Doritos you get in the bag. And I think people are getting upset at that. Pepsi is saying they're going to be giving more chips for the same price coming up this next year to try to get people back buying Pepsi products, which includes Frito-Lay. So that's just one example that we might be in a recession. Like people are not as willing to spend money. You know what I mean? Like if people are not buying Pepsi products, like are they buying something else, or are they just holding on to their money because they think that things are too expensive, and or if they're afraid they're going to lose their job, or if some people already lost their jobs? Like Boeing just cut 10% of their workforce. That's a huge American employer. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We're gonna keep looking. A lot of tech companies are cutting jobs. I think Facebook's still cutting jobs. So I don't know. Once you see people start losing their jobs in like blue collar work, that's when you have to worry. You know what I mean? Or when people get fired from service jobs like McDonald's, restaurants, UPS, FedEx. That's when you got to worry because those are like the backbone of the American economy. Okay. A lot of other people are lowering prices or giving promotions. You guys already know fast food's giving out promotions. McDonald's got their $5 meal. Burger King got their $5 meal. Taco Bell, everybody. Olive Garden has brought back their endless pasta and soup. Nike's lowering prices after their earnings fell. Can you believe it? Nike's going to be lowering prices on their Jordans? That's crazy. I didn't think that was going to happen, but you know what I mean? Like people just aren't spending money, and that's not good. And if people aren't spending money, it's going to be it's going to be deflationary for products. Everyone's going to have to sell their stuff for a cheaper price, which is good for me, but it might cause a recession. But is it bad? Is it bad to have a recession but you get stuff for cheaper? I don't know. I don't mind it. IKEA is also lowering their prices on their furniture, which is another sign of recession. Like people are just not buying enough. I don't know how much people buy stuff from IKEA, but I only buy stuff from there every couple of years when I'm moving because I don't want to move my stuff. I just throw away my couch and buy new stuff from IKEA. Like I only go there every 4 or 5 years, so I don't know if that's a big deal or not. Um, but yeah, we might be in a recession, guys. So if you guys are listening to this and you guys are afraid of recession, maybe start saving more money. You know what I mean? And if your job is not, you know what I mean, like if your job's not like a, what is it called, like reliable, safe, like if you're at risk of getting laid off, maybe start saving, guys. Save up for a rainy day, as they say. My job's pretty safe. I'm not gonna tell you guys what I do, but the chance of me getting laid off is pretty low. So I'm looking forward to these lower prices, guys. More signs that we might be in a recession. People are selling their homes or putting up their homes for sale at record pace in Florida. It has to do with obviously a lot of the hurricanes and stuff like that. And people aren't able to pay for home insurance because it's so expensive. People are just putting their stuff on the market. I've been reading and watching YouTube videos where people say people are dropping their asking price for $50,000 or more, which is kind of crazy. But then it might not be a lot if prices went up double in the last like 4 years. You know what I mean? So maybe your house value went up $200,000 and you're cutting it by $50,000. Not bad. It's still 150K, but I'm sure some people are probably just trying to break even that bought the last couple of years. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just in Florida. I think Florida has to do with the natural disasters. Maybe that's why people are selling. I haven't seen too much of this happening in other states. I have seen more people putting up their homes for sale in LA. But I think that's just because interest rates have come down and people are trying to make a quick buck. But it hasn't been as crazy as Florida. I think the Sun Belt, when the housing market crash, it usually hits the Sun Belt before everywhere else. So I'm gonna be keeping an eye out on Arizona and maybe even Las Vegas. If a lot of homes there's coming on for sale and they're slashing prices, then we might be in a recession pretty soon because that means a lot of people are going to be selling their house at a loss if there's going to be a flood of new inventory. I was watching this one YouTube video. They're saying, you guys have heard about how BlackRock and all these big companies were buying up homes and stuff, and they were renting it out to people. They only make up like maybe like less than 10% of all home purchases. But the rumor is, at least in Florida, BlackRock's unable to rent out these homes, so they're selling these houses at a loss, and they are one of the people that are slashing prices by like $50,000 or more. And people are afraid because if BlackRock's going to sell all their homes, it might not be like a lot in terms of overall. It could potentially crash the market. So how housing prices work is your home is basically worth whatever the last home sold for. So if I'm living in this apartment, it's an apartment. So if this was a condo, if I lived in this condo and the condo across the street sold for 400K, all of a sudden this condo would be around 400K, right? But if, let's say, BlackRock owned the condo across the street and they sold it for 50K less, 350K, then all of a sudden my condo will be only worth 350K. That's how they do comps. And it'll be crazy. I think there might be a panic sell if people see the value of their home comes down. You know what I mean? Like if someone sells their condo across the street for 350K, I'll be panicking. I'll say, oh shoot, like it's probably gonna drop. I'm gonna try to sell mine as fast as I can. Maybe I'll drop mine to 330K so I could sell it before all the other homes are trying to sell 350K, and then someone else is gonna do it. So pretty soon there's gonna be like a home price crash. I'm not an economist, but I'm pretty excited. If home prices come down, there'll be a lot of opportunities for people that are looking to buy. Like I'm not going to buy a condo anymore, but if one of these $1 million homes in LA comes down to like 600, 700K, like I might have to try to buy these. And I don't have the money to buy them, but I'll hit up my mom and dad. I'm like, hey, remember me? I'm your son. I need some money. I want a house. Don't you want me to start a family? Probably not. My parents aren't rich. But yeah, there might be a buying opportunity for a lot of people. Um, like I see these houses in LA, like in South LA, South Central, are selling for like $700,000. I'm like, that is not worth it. That is expensive. These houses are worth maybe like $400,000 at most. This is how much I'm valuing it in my mind, and I'm assuming there's a lot of people thinking that too. So they won't. They're just like, I'm just not going to buy a house. And the homes where I think should be in like $600,000 are selling for like $800,000, even over $1 million in like a not very good neighborhood in Los Angeles. And number one, I can't afford that house. But number two, even if I can, I would refuse to buy because I'm like, I'm not paying $1 million home for like a bad neighborhood where the schools kind of suck. Like I'm not gonna do that. Like I don't have kids, but I plan on having kids one day, ladies. So anyway, I think there are more people like me out there that are just biding their time. Um, so yeah, I don't know if there's a housing crash. I'm sure it won't be that bad because I feel like there's a bunch of people on the sideline just renting and they're fine with it, like me. You know what I mean? As long as my rent will be cheaper than me getting a mortgage, I'm just gonna rent forever, unless I knock someone up and have a kid. But I'm fine renting right now. Neighbors are cool. You know what I mean? So that's what I think, dude. Anyway, I think it's because I'm tired. I rant. I felt like I talked really fast this episode, but thank you guys for listening. For those who are still here, um, I hope this sounds okay. But yeah, leave a comment below. What do you guys think about the uranium and nuclear market? Should I be buying Oklo or SMR new scale? Is there still room to go up, even though they've gone up many, 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 many times? What do you guys think about the housing market? Is there an opportunity for us to buy in the next few years, or should we just stay in the sideline? Is there going to be a huge crash? I don't know. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next week. Thank you guys for listening. Bye bye.